and $2.70 in Queensland. Dynamic Tycoon in rare form. This Victorian, prepared by Lee Freedman, has taken all before him in the Territory. He, of course, won the Darwin Guineas on July 11 and then beat Star Bullet to win the Northern Territory Derby. He's $2.70 in Queensland, as I mentioned, $2.60 in New South Wales. He's won 6 of 16, and today his rider is Les Beer. Only chance at $38. Sundance Kid number 3 at 14. The rider is Stephen Burrows, who's riding in great form over the carnival. 5 Touch of Fantasy, prepared by Viv Oldfield in the at Alice Springs, has won 11 of 36 and did win an open handicap on July 18. Dropped back in distance to win a weight for age event over the mile on July 29. Touch of Fantasy. His jockey today is Darren Gauci. Belle Isle, number 6. The rider is Craig Williams, incurs a 1 kilo penalty for a recent win over the Sundance Kid. And that win, of course, was on Saturday. In fact, that win for Belle Isle on Saturday. Royal Consort at 15. Number 10, Yalla Limit. And that's the late mail from Rod Galegas, being ridden by champion Adelaide rider Simon Price. Yalla Limit, prepared by Peter Hayes, of course, still in South Australia. Visiting the Territory, has won 6 of 17 and did fail first up at Fanny Bay in running 7th, beaten 10.2 lengths to Belle Isle, win a 5-1 chance on the 25th of July. But second up, they normally go better, horses on these dirt tracks or oil-based dirt tracks. Now let's have a look at the others here. A few people tipping Lord Matthew at the big odds, but $9.60 for Daybreak Treat. The rider is Jim Cassidy. Number 12, Do Rider, sensational Territorian horse for over many seasons. Nigel King at $17. And Lord Matthew, who once upon a time would have run favourite on a Saturday at Sandown, which was his favourite track in Melbourne, but he's 32-1, Lord Matthew, number 14. Now, we're about 8 minutes away from the advertised start time of the Darwin Cup. A listed race worth $115,000 with a $2,000 trophy. Selections by Mick Stumbles are 5, 1 and 10. We'll be back in a moment on Sky Channel with Matthew Browning, trackside at Fanny Bay.
Yeah, thank you, Hilton. I've found a good judge to give us a bit of mail on the Darwin Cup. Runners are in the yard and jockeys are about to mount up. Jeff Barton from Info TV has been working very hard here this afternoon, keeping tabs on them in the mounting yard and assessing their form for Info TV. But he's come across to Sky Channel to give us a bit of mail on the Darwin Cup. What do you think? Handy field this year, isn't it?
It's a very, very handy field, Matty. It's probably one of the most open cups we've had in a few years, so it's a fantastic event. It always is, and the crowd is loving the day. Dynamic Tycoon, he's got to be very hard to beat, but he is going for 6 wins in a row. He's got 57 in top weight, so he's got a task ahead of him. He was a bit lazy on it last time when he won the Derby. They've put blinkers on him today, and hopefully he'll arc up to the task ahead of him, but it's a big ask for him to do that. The dangers, number 4, Touch of Fantasy. I think she's number 5 rather, Touch of Fantasy. The only mare in the race. She's been specifically set for this event. She's got to be hard to beat. Also, one of the runners in the event's been quite consistent of late is Sundance Kid, number 3. He's looking for the 2,000 metre event now. The distance will suit him, and he hails from Western Australia. And not forgetting, if you want a box trifecta, throw in number 12, Do Right. This horse ran a slashing 3rd last start over the mile, and he's also trained by Viv Oldfield, so he's right on the mark as well.
Okay, terrific. All right then, Jeff, thanks for that. I'll let you go and clear your other commitments, but thanks for coming over and saying good day.
Thanks, mate.
That's Jeff Barton from Info TV. Yes, they've come from all over the place for this cup. Lee Freedman has a runner. Peter Hayes has a runner. There's a lot of locals, a lot of Alice Springs horses here, and the Alice Springs horses have had quite a bit of luck over the last 6 days of the Darwin Cup Carnival, so don't be surprised if they take another one home. My tip in the race, I like Touch of Fantasy here. She's the only mare in the race. She actually ran second in last year's Derby, and she'll be very well suited by the 2,000 metres here this afternoon, and she was very well fancied at the Calcutta. Touch of Fantasy, one of the girls to come through on top in the cup, which is not far away. We've got the jockeys on board. They're about to go onto the track, and Hilton, I'll hand it back to you until we have more, but last call for bets, because they're about to go out onto the track and it won't be long before they're moving in.
Okay, Matt, yes, Alice Springs winning the race last year. Viv Oldfield and Tasmanian rider Kevin Dodge on a second emergency, so Dallas Springs horse is certainly right to the fore for the cup. Let's have a look at the market, then we'll be back with Matthew talking to Simon Price, recorded a short time ago, one of the leading riders in this race on the Peter Hayes trained runner, Yalla Limit. Now, Dynamic Tycoon at $3.20. $35 for Only Chance. Sundance Kid, $13. Big pool of $181,000 on Super Tab. $5 Touch of Fantasy. Belial at $9.40. $17 Royal Consort. Grandeur is $52. Law of the Land at $30. Number 10 Yellow Limit, $6.20. Over to number 11 Daybreak Treat at $10. Do Right at $17. Lord Matthew, $33. Runners about to move out for the running of the Carlton Darwin Cup over 2,000 metres. Well, a short time ago, before the jockeys did mount up, Matthew Browning caught up with the rider of Yellow Limit. I speak of Simon Price.
Hilton, thanks very much. We're not far away now. The Darwin Cup is coming up within the next couple of minutes, and I've been able to grab Simon Price before he mounts up on the Peter Hayes trained Yellow Limit, which is horse number 10 in the Darwin Cup. Hello, Simon.
How you going, Matt?
I'm very well. You've got these very familiar colours on. I tell you what, a few good horses have carried those over the years.
Yeah, that's for sure, and hopefully he can hold on and do the same as what they've done with them.
Do them proud. Better Loosen Up, probably the most famous. Let's talk about Yellow Limit. He's owned by Colin Hayes and trained by Peter Hayes, and I think, is it Colin that's here today?
Yes, I haven't seen him as yet, but I've heard he's here.
He's got pretty good form in Adelaide. That win at Victoria Park 3 starts back was pretty good, and then he went around at Morfettville, did much the same thing, but his only run here in Darwin hasn't, well, it wasn't brilliant, was it?
No, he hit back to a mile, and he got back a little bit with a bit of dirt in his face, and just didn't really want to stretch out, and apparently his work up here has been good, and just hoping from our good barrier that we'll be able to hold a more forward position, and he is a tough stayer. He just keeps on giving for you.
There's going to be a little bit of pace in the race. Whereabouts will he be, Yellow Limit position?
Well, he's raced on the pace back in Adelaide, and he's also got back midfield. But I think today we're going to have to ride him forward, without doing too much on him. But we are going to have to try and be as forward as possible.
Okay. Just to give our punters a bit of an insight, who's the biggest danger to your mount in the Cup?
Oh, I've heard good reports about Dynamic Tycoon, and Touch of Fantasy seems to have struck form at the right time.
Okay. When do you go back, Simon?
Leaving lunchtime tomorrow, so I need the alarm clock on.
OK then, Simon, good to see you. I'll let you go because you've got to go and talk to Colin.
Thanks very much.
That's Simon Price. He'll be riding Yellow Limit in the upcoming race. Yellow Limit's about $8 or $9 or 8 or 9 to 1 in the ring here. So it's given a pretty reasonable hope of taking out the Darwin Cup and sending it back to Adelaide with the Hayes team. Hilton, back to you. We're not far away now from the Darwin Cup.
All right, Matt, let's have a look at the update for you. And the pool is building all the time, up over $200,000 now. Dynamic Tycoon from the Lee Friedman stable, being ridden by Les Beer, $3.10. The Queenslander Only Chance at odds of 33 to 1. Sundance Kid number 3 at $12. Rider is Stephen Burrows. 5 Touch of Fantasy, $4.90. Belial at $9.60. 7 Royal Consort, $17. Grandeur, $55. Keep in mind that number 6 Belial has incurred a 1 kilo penalty, now has 54.5 for a win on the weekend. $6.40 for Yellow Limit number 10, with Colin Hayes deputising for Peter on track. Daybreak Treat number 11 at 10, Do Right 18, and Lord Matthew still 33 to 1. So $230,000 in the pool now. Jeff Barton's Mounting Yard Mail, the numbers were 1, 5 and 3. They were his 3 in order, 1, 5 and 3. New South Wales pool 114,000, and the Queensland pool has hit more than $50,000. Arriving at the gates, back with the Darwin Cup in a moment on Sky.
If you're looking for a fast return, you need look no further than the 7...
Just a marvellous complex, the grandstand, or the pavilion, I suppose, is the best name for it at Fanny Bay. And all in all, every vantage point has been taken at Fanny Bay for the big one, the Carlton Darwin Cup, $115,000, a $2,000 trophy. The runners are moving in. Dynamic Tycoon at $3.10 and the firm favourite. 3 Sundance Kid at $12. Touch of Fantasy, $4.90. Belial number 6 at $9.70. Look at this pool, $250,000 on Super Tab. $6.50 for 10 Yellow Limit. And Dynamic Tycoon now firming to $3. This has been a massive go on the TAB to be flashing with such a difference of $126,000 up to $267,000. So that pool has almost doubled. In fact, it has doubled. And Dynamic Tycoon firming from $3.30 to $3. If successful, Dynamic Tycoon in this race today will pick up a $100,000 bonus for connections after winning the Northern Territory Derby and Guineas. Let's take you to Darwin for race number 8, the Carlton Darwin Cup. And the runners are just about set to go. Here's Mick Stumbles with the Darwin Cup.
Half the field is in, and we're waiting for the other half. Balili should be up on the pace most of the way, if not in front. Test for him today at the 2000. It looks very well. Touch of Fantasy, very impressive. Winning the Buntine Handicap. Sundance Kid has been most consistent since coming over from Western Australia. Grandeur on the move. Do Right has won over $220,000 in prize money, having his third attempt at a Darwin Cup this afternoon. Now Balili is being led up by attendants. Touch of Fantasy. Lord Matthew still away with Sundance Kid, Grandeur and Do Right. Balili on the toe a little. He sort of pokes his head in the gates and then pulls it away again. Attendants straighten him up. They've just about got him in there, Balili. Moves into line. So Balili is set. Touch of Fantasy coming up next. About 3 to go. Sundance Kid away with Grandeur. In fact, there's 4 to move up. Do Right and Lord Matthew. Grandeur on the outside has moved in. Well, the attendants are attempting to place Do Right in his stall. He moves into line. Lord Matthew and Sundance Kid will be the last couple. Drawn in 10 and 11. Only Chance on the inside with Daybreak Treat. Dynamic Tycoon, Yellow Limit. Royal Consort, Law of the Land, Balili. Touch of Fantasy, Do Right. Grandeur on the outside. Sundance Kid is ready. And Grandeur moves up. And Lord Matthew will complete it. They'll be down to the judge and 1 lap of the track. Now they're ready for the Carlton Darwin Cup of 98. Stand by. Light on. Off and racing. Only Chance away well. Daybreak Treat was a little bit slow to get going. Dynamic Tycoon, Balili, Touch of Fantasy and Do Right all got out very swiftly as they head down towards the judge the first time. Only Chance, Dynamic Tycoon and Balili out deep, showing great speed. Dropping in behind them, Yellow Limit, 4th the rails. Moving up on his outside was Touch of Fantasy. There's a break of 2 lengths to Do Right, saving ground through along the inside. 2 or 3 lengths away, Sundance Kid. Daybreak Treat a length and a half further back. 3/4 Royal Consort, 2 lengths away, Law of the Land from Grandeur. And Lord Matthew last of all. On the far side they race, under 1400 to go. And Dynamic Tycoon race to the front, kicked out by a length and a half, Balili. 3/4 of a length away, Do Right, beautifully posied, 3rd over on the rails as they get up by the 1200 metre point. 2 lengths away came Only Chance, a length and a half, Touch of Fantasy around the outside of Yellow Limit. Out 3 deep, Lord Matthew, a length further back came Sundance Kid, a length to Daybreak Treat. A length the Royal Consort, who is 3rd last with Law of the Land, and Grandeur out 3 deep is last of all. By the 900 they go in the cup, and Dynamic Tycoon looking for the Triple Crown. Led the way by a half length, Balili. 3rd the rails, Do Right in a lovely spot. Only Chance off the rails, working into it swiftly, and there goes the mare, Touch of Fantasy. She's whipped right around them up towards the front. Further back, Yellow Limit. Then Lord Matthew to the outside. A long way back in the field came Law of the Land. Further back, Grandeur with its ears ridden off from Daybreak Treat. And Royal Consort searching for inside runs. Balili hit the front. Dynamic Tycoon is gone. Sundance Kid is coming around them quickly. Touch of Fantasy there. Then Do Right. Sundance Kid at the front of the top of the stretch. Balili coming back the inside there, clear of Touch of Fantasy. And further out on the track, Do Right. Then a long way back, Royal Consort. It's Balili and Sundance Kid. Head for head, nose for nose in the cup. Do Right mowing them down the outside, but the post is going to loom up. Not in time for him. Balili kicks and wins. Balili a half length, Sundance Kid. Do Right a length away 3rd. 5 lengths further back came Royal Consort. Then Law of the Land. A long way back in the race was Touch of Fantasy. In behind them, Grandeur. 2 or 3 lengths, Daybreak Treat. Only Chance, Yellow Limit. And last home, or second last, Dynamic Tycoon. And a very long last, pulled up probably about 100 metres past the winning post, is Lord Matthew. Balili. Craig Williams wins the 98 Carlton Darwin Cup. over Sundance Kid and Do Right, who was fast overhauling them in the last 200 metres, but the post came up too close for him, and Balili, by geez, got some heart, this horse, has fought on to win. That's Balili on the inside in the black colours, Sundance Kid in the yellow and white the outside. They're going hammer and tongs. Do Right looked like picking the pair of them up, but he just couldn't quite run the 2,000 metres out, and Balili kicking on the inside has been too good for Sundance Kid, with Do Right a very, very gallant third. Numbers up, 6 Balili, 5-year-old Bay Gelding by Bellotto out of Upperley Mobile, owned by GP Moody, CD Enoch, MJ Maria, J Samini, Miss J Calipari and Mrs RJ Moody, trained by Peter Moody in Alice Springs and ridden by a very promising rider from Victoria, Craig Williams. Number 3, second, Sundance Kid, Stephen Burrows, and 12, Do Right in third place, ridden by Nigel King. Officially fourth was number 7, Royal Consort, and the fifth to finish was number 5, Touch of Fantasy. A half length the winning margin, a half length with 1 length between second and third, and the time 2:01.70. 2:01.70. The record is 2:01.4, so they're only 31 hundredths outside Instant Policy's track record for the 2,000 metres. So completed placings after the Carlton Darwin Cup: 6 Balili, Craig Williams for Peter Moody, the winner. Second 3, Sundance Kid, ridden by Stephen Burrows. Third 12, Do Right, Nigel King. Fourth home, Royal Consort, but a long way behind the third horse. And officially fifth was Touch of Fantasy. A half length the winning margin, a length between second and third, and the time 2:01.70.
Well, a big weekend for Balili, winning both races, but he was, of course, in that race there was the horse to sit outside Dynamic Tycoon, apply pressure to Dynamic Tycoon when Touch of Fantasy moved up wider on the track, and then had the audacity to fight back after being well and truly headed and come back from third to go on and win. Craig Williams, congratulations, one of the nicest blokes in racing indeed. And Balili coming back to scale now. We'll hopefully have Matthew Browning with some of the winning connections if time does permit. Let's update Perth. We're about a minute away from the advertised start time at Belmont, race number 6. They're moving in well. And Cash in the Bank at $7.70. Crusoe $4.50. Paddy Me Lad $15. Brooklyn Bridge $3.50. Regimental Colours at $7.30. Brave Kite $24.5. And Matthew Browning to wrap up after the Darwin Cup.
Righto, Hilton, thanks very much. I've just experienced the most amazing thing here at Fanny Bay watching the Darwin Cup. When those barriers opened, the most electric roar from the crowd you could possibly ever hear. It was just like a Cox Plate or a Melbourne Cup jumping. It was absolutely fanatical as the runners came down the straight and past this huge crowd, which they're tipping is in excess of 20,000 people. And then as Craig Williams returned to scale on a Northern Territory trained galloper, I mean, they brought them up from Adelaide. Lee Friedman's brought up Dynamic Tycoon, who was gone before the 400-metre mark, and the Northern Territorians have been able to keep the race in the state, if not in the city. It'll be going back to the Peter Moody stable at Alice Springs, and a fantastic win too to Craig Williams. He was a little bit emotional, Craig, when he came back. Obviously this win means quite a bit to him this afternoon, taking the Alice Springs Darwin Cup. Also, I guess it's worth $75,000 in prize money. He'll be getting a nice slice of that, and probably a pretty good sling too for handling it so well. But the running of the Darwin Cup brings to a close our coverage of Darwin Cup Day 1998 from the Fanny Bay Racecourse, and it also winds up the carnival. There have been 8 days of racing over about the last 5 or 6 weeks, including the Chief Minister's Plate, the Metric Mile. Both of those two, by the way, were won by Balili. They've had a Guineas, they've had a Darwin Derby, they've had it all, and it's just been fantastic racing by all reports. And I can vouch for today and Palmerston Sprint Day, which was Saturday, that it really has been top class, and I can totally recommend to anyone who's never been to Darwin before that this is a carnival that you must come to. The hospitality here, the functions over the last 5 days have just been a lot of fun, and it really has been enjoyable. They've looked after us a treat too. Our thanks to the MGM Grand and also to Ansett Airlines, who have got us here safe and sound and will be taking us back tomorrow, and also to Wayne Pollock, who's the Chief Executive of the Darwin Turf Club. He's over the moon with the crowd and the turnover on the Darwin Cup today, and we are really looking forward to getting back here next year. To all of our crew who have come with us to Darwin, we have brought a big crew with us this year too. My thanks to them for getting us on the air today, and to everyone back in at Sky Channel at our headquarters. Also, our thanks for getting us on the air and their help today. But Hilton, it's back to you. I know you must know what I mean, because you've been here before, and I guess we'll both be. We'll probably have to toss a coin next year to see whether it's you or me that comes to the Darwin Cup 99. See you until, in fact, the next time I'll see you will be from Coffs Harbour Racetrack on Thursday, when we head there to celebrate John Tapp's last ever race call. I'll see you from Coffs Hilton on Thursday.
Well, Matt Browning, in saying that, let me say that there's a bloke sitting right here about to do full-time, and he's declared himself 6-4 favourite to return to Darwin next year. I speak of Nick Raven. But thanks, Matt, a great job, and make sure you have a few glasses of water, or perhaps a few Powerades or Gatorades before you have an ale, because it's a very trying day there in the heat there at Fanny Bay. A job well done. Congratulations to yourself and everyone there who worked with you. Graham Dick gaining interviews, Brad Adam directing, and everyone else who assisted there. We'll be back to wrap up with dividends on the Darwin Cup ahead of full time in a moment.
If you're looking for a fast return, you need look no...
5 in Queensland, over 3 Sundance Kid and 12 Do Right. A top run by the Alice Springs owned horse, trifecta $1,051 Victoria, $775 New South Wales, $1,583 in Queensland. All right, we've got Nick Raven coming up in just a moment with full time, but we'll leave you with the winner of the Darwin Cup, Craig Wood.